this is something I thought we should talk about. It could be considered controversial, maybe too. It's well, and for one, I think it's funny now in the vinyl community. They're called Unofficial. We're basically talking about bootlegs.
Yep.
These are bootleg records. These are not. And the thing with these are they might be stuff that is not available on vinyl. And basically what somebody does is there's like labels in, it seems like there's a lot in Italy and I think the Czech Republic maybe. Yep. There's a couple companies where like copyright laws are very like gray.
Yeah.
And these people get away with doing this. That's how they're out here. And then you can get stuff that like you can't get. Like good example of that is this is one I just bought not too long, maybe a couple weeks ago.
That's cool. I've got a recent one myself here.
It's the Pump Up the Volume soundtrack. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this movie, but this is a great movie and a great soundtrack.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you care where your parents are?
Dad, I'm in jail.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
I'm in jail. I'm going to stay here. I like it here.
And he's trying to tell you that there's something wrong with this school.
Man, you're not supposed to be.
What do you want to slam me? Come on, Bill, I'm a big fan of yours.
This was never available on vinyl, to my knowledge. Like, it might have been pressed once way back when, but to my knowledge, this was never available on vinyl. And it's on this, like, colored... Well, for some reason, I can't get it out of the... There we go. It's on this nice, brightly colored label, but...
So how do you know it's unofficial? How do you know that one is unofficial? Other than maybe looking it up on Discogs and it telling you.
That's the biggest. And then also another key to telling. Of course, I couldn't find the one I wanted to show. There was one I wanted to show. If you're ever in your record stores and you're flipping through and you might see something that says colored vinyl or import, the biggest key is if it says import colored vinyl. 9 out of 10 chances that's going to be an unofficial release, and I wish I could find.
Yeah. I mean, some of this is bootleg stuff, live concerts that you used to see back in the years.
Yeah,
I'm a big Beefheart fan, and all those live concerts have been bootlegged to death across various things. And then sometimes it's like you say, where it was never released on vinyl, so they're just looking to make a quick buck because now vinyl's hot, right?
Right. Here, I actually found it. This is, which has this for a long time was out of print. This is Slayer, Rain and Blood. For the longest time, this album was out of print. They have recently reissued this, which I did buy this. And the thing with some of these unofficials is, if you look at that, that's the American label, which is what they were. Like, how would you know that was unofficial? Besides, chances are the colored vinyl might give it away. But on the front of that one, hopefully that shows up.
Yep.
There was this little multicolored import sticker. 9 out of 10 times you see a sticker like that on any album, it's going to be an unofficial release.
Yeah.
And like I said, what they do is most of these places are taking like CD versions and they're ripping them and then pressing them to vinyl.
Yeah.
They sound decent. They sound okay.
They sound good enough usually. Kind of.
Right, yeah. Some of them you have to like turn up. Like that one is really low. Like the volume is really low, so you have to like crank that one to get it. And then like you were talking about there's like concerts, which is what a lot of the unofficials are.
You know, it's funny. I actually have one that's fairly right up there with Rain and Blood in terms of obviously this is a bootleg if you know, but there's also a big profit market to doing it, and that's this one. I have a Danzig 3. I just got this recently, How the Gods Kill. At the time of its release, when I found it in the store, I was like, this is probably a bootleg, but I'm buying it anyway. And sure enough, it is. You couldn't tell. It's got all the labels and all the stuff that you might think. And look how.
Oh, and they're
also
good
look at it
about
this
that.
way. Look how shiny this is. Do you think this came out in 1991? Really?
Right.
I really think this came out in 91. And if you look closely, you can see a little bit of printing. Sometimes on the print is not quite commercial grade printing. And the sound of this is clearly they just hit play on their CD and then hit record on whatever vinyl ripping creation tool they're using. So
like another this, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but this cover clearly was like the CD that they blew up to make this cover, so it's not quite as sharp as it could be. It might be a little blurry. I have a better example of that, but I couldn't find it, which it too has now been repressed. But I have the Firehouse album. For the longest time, Firehouse wasn't available on vinyl, and it got unofficially released. And the cover is absolutely horrible. It is so blurry. It's like you can look at it and see. But speaking of concerts, Pearl Jam, this was 1995, Soldier Field in Chicago. I was at this show.
really?
So
Oh man.
so
That's cool.
I'm like I have to buy this. And for the longest time I've had it on CDs. There's like a lot of bootlegs on CDs. I had this on CD, and then I seen this on vinyl. I was at a record show. I saw this and I'm like, no freaking way. So I had to get this just because I was at this show. Wow. So that's a lot of it. What you're going to get are concerts. And then another big thing with the unofficials that you're going to get, and you can't tell that I like Pearl Jam at all because I grabbed I have this is Pearl Jam called 10 Naked. It's the outtakes for 10. So this is like demo versions. This is songs that didn't make it onto 10. This is stuff never officially released. Like the band never released any of this stuff. Well, I take that back. There's a couple songs off of here that have been released. They came out with an album called Lost Dogs, which included some of the stuff that was officially released for the first time. But then again, you get with these unofficials, you'll get stuff like, and most of them are colored vinyls. I mean, there is black vinyl on them, but you'll get cool little labels like, that's a little Pearl Jam stick guy. It's colored labels like that. It's just stuff. And this is just stuff that you probably can't find anywhere else, especially on vinyl.
So, given that you can't find it, it is special. It's in some ways is cool, even if it sucks. Should record stores not sell them? Should record stores look at this copy of Danzig 3 and go, whatever, I'm not going to rip off someone thinking it's a real copy?
And that's the thing. There's a lot of record stores that will not sell them. My local record store will not sell unofficials. There's a record store that I visit my friend, and he has a record store in his town in Michigan, and they do. So that's where I bought that Slayer, actually. I guess it's up to the store owner. Because they're ripping off the artist. The only person making money is maybe the guy who runs the record store, and however that initial sale from the bootleg, right? The distributor, they're getting it from. And like what I do, like this Slayer, good example. I bought this Slayer because it's like I wanted this on vinyl. It was never on vinyl. When American re-released it, I bought that, so I have it. I supported them, even though I didn't support them with this. So it's
I want to know how does it get into the system is what I want to know. At some point, a record store is getting crates of records, and those records are going to include some unofficials. How does that happen? Where is it injected illegally, essentially, into the system?
I actually talked to, because I wondered that. To that record store in Michigan that I was talking about. The owner happened to be in one day when I was in there, and I asked him. I just said, like, look, I know this is like an unofficial release. It's fine. I don't care. but how are you getting these? And he said there is one distributor that he knows of that actually stocks these and will carry the unofficials.
So it's a deliberate choice. The record store is ultimately choosing to purchase it.
Yes, but I have seen though too on the other side of that, my record store that will not carry them. They will if they like buy a collection of music and it includes that. They'll like put that in their used section or their recently acquired collections. They'll put the unofficials in there, but they won't stock them, new.
I have got an example of a scam. This is not you knew what you were buying. This is deliberately they are lying. I have got a picture disc of Frank Zappa's Hot Rats that is an unofficial record. Look at how this is the same thing it came in. Look at the writing on that. 1984 press. No, it is not. No, it is not. It is believed to be an unofficial press from around 2010 from France. So they lied. They just flat out lied to sell this record at this record store.
See, now that is something that record stores or even if you're at a record fair show, whatever you want to call it, and like a seller is selling stuff, if they know, like that instance, whoever sold that knew what that, unless they were just totally like misinformed, which I guess we could give them the benefit of doubt, but my guess is they knew what they were doing with that one.
It took me all of 5 seconds to look it up on Discogs to know that this was nonsense.
And that's all you have to do is look it up on Discogs, and Discogs will let you add them to your collection, but you can't list them for sale on Discogs.
Yeah, Discogs really, that was controversial. That happened within the past couple of years and really set a bunch of people off, but probably a good choice.
Yeah.
I ultimately picked up this Frank Zappa Hot Rats picture disc knowing I didn't care whether it was. I wasn't going to listen to this. Right. It's just got the cool album cover and all that sort of thing.
That is awesome looking, but yeah.
But yes, but at the same time, when I saw that, I was like, and I did pay $25 for this. So kind of got ripped off there.
That's kind of like I guess it's kind of buyer beware too. Like if you see something, like I knew right away because at the time that the Slayer was not being actively pressed. Yeah. So I'm like, and it was in their new metal section, so it's not like it was in their used section. So I'm like, okay, this is not an actual. This is like a bootleg, but it's fine.
Danzig is specifically in the same boat. Him and Rick Rubin, who created those albums together, those classic albums together, had a split, and they're just not interested in working together whatsoever anymore. And so that stuff, and it was never really pressed much on vinyl to begin with. So
so there's like a couple bands like Slayer used to be like that too, because it was never actually pressed on vinyl, but Slayer's actually re-releasing all of their catalog. But Danzig, that's a thing. I don't think we're ever going to see that officially released. So you kind of have to judge it and juggle it. It's like, if I want to own it, am I okay with not giving money to Danzig?
Yeah, right.
Because Danzig will make money off of it, but but then on the same side of that, if you look at it like that, if you buy a used record, like if you would for some reason find like a brand new Slayer Rain and Blood in the used section, Slayer's not going to get the money for that because they already did though, but they're not getting money again or with like a used CD. Yeah. It's like, is there a difference? Yeah. Maybe. But it's like, you're buying an unofficial release, it's just some little. And then it was funny. I went down a rabbit hole, like, because Pearl Jam, there's like a lot of Pearl Jam stuff that's been unofficially released. It's basically concerts and outtakes and stuff. And a lot of the record companies seem to be in Italy, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why Italy is.
I see a lot of Beefheart bootleg stuff, and that also is coming from like Italy a lot of times.
Yeah, and there's like 4 or 5 big labels that are like known for their unofficial stuff. But I guess at the end of the day, it comes down to what do you feel comfortable with doing. And I always try to, like, if something is officially released, I will go ahead and pick it up. But like that Pump Up the Volume soundtrack, chances are that's never going to actually get why would that ever get released on vinyl?
That movie made so many like preteen boys my age to want to be DJs. You have
Yep.
no idea.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I want to be the
Me
cool
and-
kid who's
me included.
showing it to the man and be talking
Right.
and being all cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Christian
So,
Slater's hot. He's awesome. So
so there you go. So yeah. So, but yeah, just, buyer beware. Like I said, the big key is if it's something that you've never really seen before, Discogs is a good place to look. Like if you're in a record store or a record show, just pull out your phone, pull up Discogs, put it in, and then it's like, if it says unofficial, you know right away it's bit. And like I said, the other key is that import, like not all imports are unofficial, but that seems to be the record store in Michigan I was talking about. That's their key. If it says import on it, it's an unofficial. That's the way they do it. They call it an import.
My recommendation is not to buy it, and that's mostly because of a sound quality thing.
Right.
Sometimes
And
you'll get decent sound quality, but so many times I've got a stack of CD bootlegs that just sound so much like trash that you can't even really listen to it. I've got some Hawkwind ones like that. So
I can't see it right now, but which it has now been officially released too. But for the longest time, the only way I had the Cold Chamber album was an unofficial that sounded absolutely, and I regretted every minute of buying that. I bought it. I was so excited because I'm like, oh my god, I finally found Cold Chamber music on vinyl. Took it home, and I'm like, this is crap.
Yeah.
And then, concerts, definitely you kind of have to be wary of, because a lot of the concert bootlegs are just somebody holding up a tape recorder in the show. And
Someone
then
like
you're
myself, as a matter of fact. I've taped a few shows over the years.